Let's be honest. When you hear the word salvation, what comes to mind? Because most people think it's about being saved, being forgiven, or going to heaven, or maybe being rescued by something outside of you. But what if I tell you that the original meaning of salvation has nothing to do with being saved at all? What if salvation is not about being rescued, but about waking up? And it's not in a motivational way. It's not even in a be positive kind of way. I mean something deeper, something uncomfortable, something that actually changes how you see reality. Because in Gnosticism, salvation is not given to you. It's something you realize. If you really think about it, the traditional idea of salvation is kind of strange because we were told that we are flawed, we need saving, and something outside of us will fix that. But at the same time, you still feel like something doesn't fully sit right because deep down, there's a part of you that feels like, why do I need saving in the first place? And more importantly, saved from what? This is where Gnosticism takes a completely different direction. Because instead of saying that we are need to be saved, it says you are asleep and you don't know it yet. The word gnosis literally means knowing. It's not a belief or faith or obedience. It's knowing. So in Gnostic understanding, salvation is not worship, rituals, or following rules. It's seeing reality as it actually is. And once you see it, of course, you can never unsee it. If salvation isn't about sin, then what are you being saved from? Well, in Gnostic thought, you are not being saved from punishment. You are being saved from ignorance. You are born into systems, beliefs, identities, and narratives, and you accept them as truth without questioning them. Because that's how the system is designed. People hear Gnosticism and immediately think, oh, so the world is a prison? But no, it's not that simple. The prison is not just a physical world. It's the illusion you're operating in. It's like the identities you think you are, the roles you play, the beliefs you never questioned. It's the idea that this is all there is. And salvation is not escaping physically. It's seeing through it while it's still being here. That's why most people don't go deep into this, because if salvation is knowing, then it comes with a cost, right? You start to see things don't work the way you thought. People don't operate the way you assumed. Even your own identity isn't as solid as you believed. And that can feel like something is being taken away. But in reality, something false is being removed. Salvation is not becoming new. It's remembering what you already are. That's why it feels so familiar, even when it's new. You know the feeling like, I've always known this, I just couldn't explain it. That's inner knowing. That's gnosis. So, why did salvation become obedience, belief, or external rescue instead of inner knowing? Because knowing gives you autonomy, belief keeps you dependent. And Gnosticism is dangerous in that sense because it removes intermediaries, authority structures, and control system. What salvation actually looks like in real life? Well, it's not glowing light, it's not instant enlightenment. It's subtle. It looks like you started to question things you never questioned before, feeling like something doesn't align anymore, seeing patterns where you didn't before. It's a shift in perception. And once that shift happens, you start moving differently because you see things differently. So why not everyone experiences this? Because this kind of salvation is not given, it's realized. And most people are not looking for truth. They're looking for comfort, certainty, stability. And this path, it removes those first. And before I wrap this up, I just want to ground this a bit. A lot of what I'm talking about here actually comes from Gnostic texts themselves. Like, for example, in the Gospel of Thomas, there's a line that says, "The kingdom is inside of you, and it is outside of you. When you come to know yourselves, you will realize that you are the children of the living Father." So even there, it's already pointing to knowing yourself and not being saved by something outside of you. In the Apocryphon of John, it talks about how humanity was placed into a kind of ignorance, not fully aware of their true origin. So the issue was never we are sinful, but we just don't remember who we are. Even the idea of the demiurge isn't just about some evil god. It represents a system or a force that keeps you identified with the material world and disconnected from deeper knowing. So when Gnosticism talks about salvation, it's not saying follow this and you'll be saved. It is actually saying wake up and you'll see. And once you start reading this text yourself, you'll notice something, that they don't tell you what to believe. They keep pointing you back to your own awareness. So if we bring this all together, salvation is not being saved, being chosen, or being forgiven. It is waking up from a reality you thought was obsolete. Seeing through illusion, remembering what you are, and no longer needing something outside of you to define that. So the next time you hear the word salvation, don't think of it as something that will come to you. Think of it as something that's already happening. Every time you question, you realize, and see a little more clearly. You were never meant to be saved. You were meant to know.